All right, you're looking at a daily chart of Monday.com, the computer software stock. When the market's weak like this, the yields were up today, so the growth stocks were down. What I do is I look for relative strength. I do two things. I look for relative strength in leading stocks or stocks that I'm interested in. And I look for leading stocks that are pulling back to moving averages that might find support and bounce. So just observing and watching, not really acting upon this, but I did want to point out Monday because this is showing relative strength. We've seen this pattern a lot recently where stocks, rip through their 50 and then they trade sideways for a few days and then buyers come back in and push them higher. And that happened with Monday today. It was up, 4.5%. So congrats to the longs there. That's showing strength. AMD is another one, Advanced Micro Devices. Now, NVIDIA is reporting earnings tomorrow, and it's definitely going to affect this stock. But you can see this has been set up. We've had it on our, I think this is holding the record for the longest time on our watch list because we had a buy point here like 88.94. And then we had another one as it coincided with this downtrend line. It just continued higher. Then it formed this little cup shape pattern, had another standard buy point at 102.43 there, and it continued higher. Today, I think it went up to 111 and just pulled back with, general market weakness there towards the close, but it did make a new high today, and AMD looks strong. Cocoa is another stock that I'm interested in. It pulled back. They had news of a secondary offering, had a real bad reaction, initially, but all it did was pull back to its 50 and it closed. You could see near the high, of its daily range on Monday. There you could see 87% of its daily range, and then today popped higher 7%. So it just got back to where it was before and above its 10 EMA. So that's a nice move for a Cocoa, which has been showing strength. Broadcom, which was on our watch list, we had a ready list at I think we had a buy point at 630 last week or the week before, and then it got extended, so I took it off. You can see it got above from 630. This is a big move here, 630 up to 684, and so I took it off. I thought it was extended and it was up 1.2% today on news with Apple. So that's another one that's just showing strength. A couple biotech stocks that are still doing well here. Biotech, this is ACAD Pharmaceuticals. This one, you could see the base. There's a base here, then it ran up, formed another base with a handle here, a shakeout down to the 21, and then it's just been ripping higher. It's been up, 5 or 6 days in a row. So congrats to the longs there at Acadia. And AMPH is another one that you got to look at the weekly on this one. This has been consolidating a long time, ever since April of 2022. So it's been more than a year, and you can see this is a nice shakeout down to the 50. Let's see what that looks like on the daily. Yeah, this move right here, that's a sharp little shakeout. Then it stays below the 50, then whoop, rips back up. Like I said, we've seen this a lot recently. So congrats to the longs there. That one still looks good. That could be on a watch list. This is Dynatrace. This should show up on our watch list. If it's not, it will. This is a nice cup-shaped pattern, and it's just flattening out here. So I kind of like the looks of that stock, and it, showing strength. The stock doesn't have to be up to show relative strength. It's just holding, above its 10 EMA. Any stock above the 10 EMA is doing well. Flex, LTD, this is one of those electrical contracting manufacturers, which has been a really weak group, but this one has formed a bit nice base here and is just kind of trading sideways. It was flat today, which on a day like today was pretty good. Flat was good. Palantir, the stock that I don't really care for, but it is showing relative strength here. It broke out of a base after earnings last week and continues to make new highs. So congrats to the longs at Palantir. And Uber is another one that formed a base here. It just ramped on earnings, I believe, and now it just went sideways. Like I say, we've seen this pattern a lot lately. And that one's showing relative strength. Okay, let's go to the pullbacks because I'm interested in pullbacks of leading stocks, strong stocks, not just pullbacks from any stock. But Novo Nordisk went down more than 4% on news that Pfizer may or may not have an oral drug to compete with Ozempic, but I don't think it's going to affect Novo Nordisk. Their trouble is supply, not demand. There's plenty of demand here. So this pullback here to the 50, maybe it'll, flounder around here for a couple days and present an entry here. It's just trading between 170 and 160 here in this trade range for quite some time. And, maybe it'll form a flat base for, 6 to 8 weeks or even longer. But there's nothing wrong with Novo Nordisk, and they're really ramping up their earnings and sales growth. So I don't think that's going to change. TGTX is another one that, needs a breather. It had this big ramp, and now it's pulled back to its 21. So it could either, form a base, or it could find support and move higher. This one's going to move on news. If they, have, strong sales or whatever, that's going to move higher. A lot of shorts in that stock. Builder, this one I've talked about how it had a change of trajectory. You can see that, the gradual, moves that it had, got into this ascending base here, and it's just kind of gradually moving. Then all of a sudden it went blammo, just straight up, and that's unsustainable. And finally it's starting to come down. Like I said, I didn't know it was going to go to 110, 120, 130, but at some point that was unsustainable. And the housing stocks to me look vulnerable. Speaking of which, here's MTH, Meritage. This one sliced its 50 with volume today. So if you own a home stock, I'd be very careful here. They've run up a lot. It's kind of out of character for them to be this strong. And there's probably going to be some profit taking in that group. ELF, they report earnings tomorrow. Pull back to the 50. Yeah, this was like a builder where it had this, gradual type of, appreciation, and then all of a sudden it just went straight up, parabolic, and now it's kind of retreated to its 50. So we'll see what happens with earnings tomorrow. It's a young, not a young, it's a growing company with a lot of growth potential, but a lot of growth priced in as well. It's a very expensive stock, so we'll see what they have to say at earnings tomorrow. LNTH is another leader that I like that just pulled back to its 10 EMA today. You got to love that. There we see this pattern again here where it ramps up and just kind of trades sideways. I've seen a lot of that. Spotify, another stock that I like, pull back to its 10, didn't even pull back to its 10 today. So it's just trending higher, higher highs, higher lows. That Spotify is in an uptrend. LULU is one that worries me. If I own this one, adios. This is just showing weaknesses in that retail group, retail apparel, shoes, and this is just not a healthy group. Too many CEOs are saying the U.S. consumer is slowing, and it'll probably form a base and be a buy at some point, but not right now, because the market does look ahead. So all that stuff is priced in. On semiconductor, this one traded down to its roughly down to its 21 today, and close a little higher towards the end of the day. Now that one looks okay as well. Shockwave, this one's trading funny. There's a lot of rumors surrounding this one about a buyout. It's an expensive stock with a huge growth profile, but it's just pulled back to its 21 today, and it's just one that I'm watching. VKTX, this is Viking. Higher highs, made a new high today, higher lows, just trending higher. This is just this really strong stock. Chipotle is another one of our leaders here at pullback. The retail restaurant stocks, I'm watching them closely. This one, sliced its 10, but it's still above the 21. And then Wing is another one in the restaurant group that sliced its 21 today. So you got to be careful here with these restaurant stocks. Fix, this is an HVAC, heating and air conditioning stock. Traded down to its 21 today. So doing nothing wrong, just kind of forming a base, going sideways. Everything's below average volume here with this one. So just doing nothing wrong though. Anyway, that's it for today. A lot of stocks pulling back to moving averages. There was a few stocks showing some strength, and that's just what I look for during market weakness. And remember that, your stocks aren't going to go up every day, and a pullback is healthy. Even if the NASDAQ pulls back to the 21 in the next couple of sessions, it should provide some opportunities. in leading stocks. Anyway, we never give up.